Hello, and thanks for joining us on this edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Johnny Kraft.
And I'm Blaine Fink. Most students have gotten to know parking services from a small orange ticket on their windshields. But parking services isn't just this evil branch of Virginia Tech. They do much more than hand out tickets. Newsfeed reporter Sydney Cook has more on the topic.
At the sight of one of those orange go-karts, students who have parked illegally start to wonder if they'll get caught. The dreaded small orange ticket on the front windshield is an indicator that the driver has indeed parked illegally. However, ticketing cars is not all the parking services should be credited for, but the employees of parking services see handing out citations as a small part of what they do. Parking Services at Virginia Tech is a self-funded institution, which means they receive no financial support from the university.
By state statute, we're required to be 100% self-funded. So we don't get any tuition money, we don't get any tax base, so none of the taxes that are paid in Virginia, none of the tuition that's paid. There are no state funds that go into covering parking services. We're required to generate all the funds that we need to operate.
Parking Services is required to pay over $3.5 million at the beginning of every year for expenses. They are responsible for building new parking decks and repaving parking lots. That is why they charge a steady rate for parking passes. Citations can get pricey depending on the offense. If students don't want to purchase a parking pass, Parking Services promotes other ways of getting to campus like bike riding or carpooling. Despite their efforts, free parking spaces go unnoticed.
In the duck pond, in the cage lot, there's 1,500 spaces that sit empty. And that's a lot that anybody can park in. Faculty, staff, students, dorm residents, commuter students, grad students. That's a lot that anybody can park in, and there's 1,500 spaces that sit empty there every day.
In the end, convenience and time management seem to play a large role in receiving citations. Baker mentions her employees are trained to see only the black and white of the situation and leave the gray areas to the appeals department. Parking Services and the employees are only here to help, and if commuters follow the rules, all will remain well. Reporting for the Newsfeed, I'm Sydney Cook.
Dining Services has launched several new projects in recent years, from food trucks to online ordering. We spoke with Dining Services to find out how they know what works, what doesn't, and what students want. VT Dining, every item purchased on campus, they use that to see what students like and what they don't. Project manager Andrew Watling says they listen to students and respond. Tap and Go, an online ordering app, was launched this month. That idea and others like grab and go options came from students.
What we're selling, and so we can keep a pretty good eye on those, the product movement, and we can see, we look at the bottom end of that list and you can see, we only sold 5 of these all last week. What's going on here? Is this, is the product bad? Do people just not know about it? Is it something that we just need to update so that it can do better?
Ongoing projects for VT Dining include increasing sustainability practices. Watling says that the new centers will be built and older ones renovated in the near future. As the campus expands, Watling says they will continue to respond to students' needs and keep up with the growing campus. The last few weeks in a semester are notoriously hectic, but for student employees of the Inn at Virginia Tech, these weeks present an extra challenge. The Inn hosts a high number of events to wrap up the year, from graduation breakfasts to achievement honoring dinners. All these require student workers to stay for at least 5 to 6 hours at a time. Newsfeed reporter Kat Carter has more on this story.
The Inn at Virginia Tech acts as the premier and single hotel on campus, so the business it sees towards the end of the academic year is at an all-time high. With ballrooms that can host 500 people and outdoor facilities that have no limits on guests, staffing events can put extra pressure on student employees. Hotel manager Tom Shaver explained that the challenge often lies in the hours each event requires employees to work.
So you end up with, from 5:30 a.m. till midnight, the place is hopping. And so if somebody is scheduled tonight and then they're scheduled to come back tomorrow morning, makes for a short night. That's a challenge for anybody.
The Inn at Virginia Tech usually sees about 70 events per week during the rest of the academic year. However, during the weeks up to graduation, ballrooms like this one here can see up to 100 events in a single week. Student employees that work these events act as servers, hosts, busters, and also are tasked with setting up the ballrooms to host the influx of guests. Some of these bigger events can go until 2 in the morning, with employees then needing to clean up the area afterward. This often leads to employees staying later than usual, taking up time for studying and projects. These extra events would naturally lead to added stress on the student workers, but due to the timing of these events, students are not only worried about making ends meet for their bills, but are also gearing up for finals.
Yeah, I've worked 3 days this weekend and I have 2 tests and a project due this week. So, and then, finals are coming up. I haven't even begun to think about, how that's going to fit into everything.
McRae went on to say that while these award events are fun to work and a good opportunity to meet new people, the impact the added hours makes on her academic life is a challenge, and she hopes that with more staff, there will be less shifts that need to be covered, freeing up study time for her and her student coworkers. Reporting for the Newsfeed, I'm Kat Carter.
With a school as large as Virginia Tech, it can be intimidating when it comes to networking to set yourself up for after graduation. Here to tell us more is Newsfeed reporter Courtney Snookus.
Thanks, Blaine. Let's see what you can do to create valuable connections throughout your years at college. Whether you decide to take advantage of school resources, take your own initiative and promote your personal brand on social media platforms, or you reach out to alumni asking to shadow them or to have them as your mentor, there are numerous different ways to create connections that will help you in the long run.
One of the key pieces is, reaching out initially professionally and establishing a LinkedIn. Who you follow on LinkedIn, what content you curate. Are you building your own content, or are you sharing others' content, and what subjects or themes are you focusing on? What are you known as on LinkedIn? Hokies help Hokies at the end of the day, and I can only speak to that, and I've experienced it.
So next time you'd rather be antisocial, just remember how far a few solid connections can take you. When I sat down with Professor Werdelick, her top 3 networking tips were establishing a strong presence on LinkedIn, understanding and leveraging your alumni base, and looking at this as your college career and continuing to crush it every day. Now, back to you at the news desk.
Just ahead on the news feed, business owners share how they cope with college students going home for the summer.
And the drill field hosts a pop-up farmers market for the first time. These stories and more after this break.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to the news feed. The Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets has a number of traditions that stems from their outstanding leadership development program and from their multiple contributions on campus. Their training is highly regarded, especially during the first year. After all the rigorous work the freshman cadets have been through, they have one more test, known simply as the Caldwell March. The Caldwell March is one of the most valued traditions in the Corps. Its roots stem from back when VPI was established in 1872. This annual tradition is held in memory of the first student to ever register for classes at the Virginia Tech Mechanical and Agricultural College. But what's most impressive is that he had to walk 26 miles from his homestead in order to attend classes. The freshman cadets have split the legendary trail in 2 by the semester, and with 13 miles left to go, the freshmen are prepared for the rewards that will follow their completion of all 26 miles.
The Spring Caldwell March is a culminating event for freshmen. We've been doing this now for 18 years, and this is something that goes back to Addison Caldwell, who was the first cadet at Virginia Tech, so it commemorates him and at the same time provides a collective training event for the freshmen.
While the road the freshman cadets took was certainly less traveled, it shows how only a few can earn the right to call themselves a cadet. The class of 2020 proved that there were no exceptions amongst their ranks.
Thinking about being a fire team leader and then possibly cadre, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I definitely want to impact this organization a little bit more. So.
As the freshmen finally begin their journey as global ethical leaders, they'll also look back and learn from all the lessons and training which will guide them to lead others and have further success as the future leaders of Virginia Tech. Students are always coming and going from Blacksburg between holidays, winter, and spring breaks, and the ultimate summer break. But much of downtown Blacksburg revenue is cultivated through Virginia Tech students. How do businesses prepare for the absence of students over the summer? Does the absence affect businesses as much as one would assume? Newsfeed reporter Haven Lewis has more on the story.
Downtown Blacksburg is home to a multitude of restaurants, boutiques, art galleries, the local farmers market, and much more. While Blacksburg residents frequent the Main Street area, it's also a popular hangout spot for Virginia Tech students.
Virginia Tech's total enrollment for the 2016-2017 school year was a little over 31,000 students, accounting for the majority of Blacksburg's population. The town is dominated by the university.
Does the absence of students during the summer holiday affect local downtown businesses?
Last summer was our first summer, and we had been warned that it might drop off a little bit. We actually had a really great summer. During the summer, we have so many folks that are in town, whether it's for tourism reasons or whether it's students coming to look at the school.
Mike Whaley, owner of the recently opened restaurant Bots, says he's not too worried about the lack of student customers in his restaurant this summer.
Whether the students are here or not, the good weather is going to be our better weather. It's a small better business times, because it's such a small space that we will have seating on College Avenue. We have 32 seats, plus we have the lower part of top of the stairs, the deck down there.
Reporting for the newsfeed, I'm Haven Lewis.
The Office of Sustainability at Virginia Tech hosted a series of Earth Week events, including a pop-up farmers market. The event, which was held on the drill field, featured several local vendors from the Blacksburg Farmers Market to promote eating local. Students had a wide pick of products, including kombucha tea, lavender products, and even goat milk soaps. Newsfeed reporter Allison Cuevas has more in this report.
The pop-up farmers market not only promoted sustainable food sources to help the planet, but will also connect students on campus to a lot of local businesses.
Yes, sir. We're all about sustainable living. We are big proponents of shopping and buying and trying to live as locally as possible. Really understanding and knowing where your food comes from is part of, a sustainable practice of living, and just kind of being a part of the local movement as relates to food as a whole.
The Blacksburg Farmers Market partnered with the Sustainability Office to highlight farmers of locally grown produce and meats alongside artisans of baked goods and handmade crafts.
In my opinion, I think that sustainability isn't just in being, green, crunchy granola, but it's also caring about our future, whether that be the people that are to come after us, our planet, or even our health. I think it's really important that we are all, as a community, coming together to actually really critically think about what we need in the future.
The event seeks to educate the community on the benefits of locally grown and sustainably produced food, providing development and business support on behalf of vendors, providing effective market management, and fostering a vibrant local economy and community gathering place. This is Allison Cuevas reporting for the Newsfeed.
Spring is in the air, and for Virginia Tech's Horticulture Club, that means it's time for their annual plant sale. From April 20th to the 22nd, the club held a plant sale for students and Blacksburg community members. Newsfeed reporter Caroline Cleary has more on the story.
The annual plant sale takes place at Hahn Horticulture Garden, as well as the greenhouses. The Horticulture Club plans it every year on Spring Game Weekend in order to attract as many community members and students as possible. This year, they were lucky enough to have the last day of the sale fall on Earth Day. The plant sale is a huge project for the Horticulture Club. They begin ordering over 1,000 plants and herbs in January, and then begin working with parking services, the greenhouses, and marketing in order to make the event go off without a hitch. The plant sale usually brings in about $50,000 in revenue for the Horticulture Club, making it an extremely important event.
The plant sale itself is probably our main fundraiser for the entire year. We base most of our budget off the money we make here. The money we make here, we try to take towards scholarships, class trips to learn about the industry, club meetings, service projects. Like I said, it's most of our budget, so the plant sale is a big deal.
The plant sale not only helps the Horticulture Club, but also the gardens themselves, and unites the Blacksburg and Virginia Tech communities.
Yeah, it's a great thing for the community. Definitely brings people out. And people that are on campus here that take a lunch break and come by, a few little plants. Yeah, it definitely gets people involved. Gives the garden a little bit of exposure, because you kind of have to come through it to get here.
The Horticulture Club had members volunteer to help out during the plant sale, as well as staff of the garden, such as Paul, to assist plant buyers with any questions. The Ag Econ Club also hosted a barbecue next to the sale in order to attract more guests.
If you'd like to join the Horticulture Club, visit their website at hort.vt.edu or find them on Facebook. I'm Caroline Cleary, reporting for the Newsfeed.
That will wrap up this edition of the Newsfeed. If you have a story idea for the Newsfeed, let us know. Send us an email at thenewsfeednrv@gmail.com, and as always, you can also connect with the Newsfeed on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. I'm Blaine Fink.
And I'm Johnny Kraft.